Yeah,
Um,
Monkey Grader 82. She says, "I wonder if that's the same ex that Gypsy claims to have reached out to her about Nick being dangerous," and that's what I thought too, probably.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
nope. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, it's not.
Christine, I think that was a troll. I don't know, or maybe a setup. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it real quick and I'll share it.
Okay.
Christine, if you recall,
Uh-huh.
there was a gal. I showed you a screenshot long ago, and I said, "Can you find this person?" And we never found this person because she made a Facebook post, basically reiterating everything Don Boker was saying.
Hmm.
Give me
Oh,
1 second, and I'm gonna look for it. I know I have it. I just gotta find it.
yeah.
Real
Yeah.
That's
quick.
really weird.
Mm.
And I remember I asked Fancy about it a long time ago, and she said that wasn't her name, and now it makes sense to me because she's part of the whole, everything she's a
Yeah.
part of. So I'm gonna download this real fast, and then I will pull it
So
up.
Alice says the one
I did
his
find
mother
it.
spoke about was a male, Nick's cousin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm
Yeah, I
believing it now.
remember that. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So I can't blur the name out, but I will say this person is not on Facebook. I don't even think this is a real person. Actually, hold on. I can scroll in a little bit and cut her name out. There we go. Okay. But this person does not share the same name at all as the witness that was in those Facebook messages.
Now Luna Rose commented again about some female cousin that testified.
That is possible because a lot of Nick's family members, like aunts and uncles, did testify.
Yeah.
But not only is Nicholas a murderer, he is a creep. Sorry, I am one of his many online ex-girlfriends that he was trying to get to move to Wisconsin. He mentioned to me in messages in June of 2014 that they were plotting to get rid of her mother for good, as according to Gypsy, her mother was a man-hater and wouldn't allow for the two of them to be together. Now, if there was any truth to that, this came out in 2019, I believe. Go figure. If that were the case, why wasn't this person subpoenaed? Why wasn't this person interviewed? And why is this person not reporting that Nicholas and Gypsy are talking about this stuff?
Yeah.
It almost makes me think this was a setup post because it's nowhere to be found now. This is a screenshot from Facebook.
Yeah.
And I think I found it on Web Sleuths. So he's made other threats in the past that seem to be empty, so I just sort of brushed this off, not really paying any mind, as he claimed that he had split personalities and Asperger's syndrome. I never would have thought that he could possibly commit murder, but seeing that look in his eyes, to me, it's clear that it was intentional and that there wasn't much convincing needed to get him to be willing to follow through. Really, 2 years? 2 years?
Well, they try to say,
Probably
no, they
Gypsy.
talked for 2 years and then they only discussed it for a year.
Yeah.
2 years, 1 year, that's still a lot of convincing.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Right, yeah.
the first year was full of manipulation, and because that's what they try to put out. She tries to put out that they talked for 2 years, but the first year wasn't in discussion. It was only the second year that the discussion came up of her mother and all that stuff. So I always keep, anytime somebody mentions 2 years, they debunk it down to 1. I'm like, does that really matter? Do you really think that makes a difference, the 1 year or the 2 year?
Mhm.
And
Especially
one
since
day you saying, will you do this for me? And he does it. Bam, you are just as much guilty.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, especially since he did
Right.
come to, Missouri twice, and he didn't there was nothing out of sorts that anybody said he did or anything.
Right.
So, and that's the other thing you just reminded me of, Amber, in the little clip that I had snipped and put together that I can't play, obviously. I wish I could. Dan Patterson, oh, if I could just wring that neck once, just once. I'll see you in court one day, Dan. He was giving his closing argument to the jury and said something along the lines that Nick tortured Dee Dee. He wanted to torture that woman, and that says it all. And I get to thinking, that is a downright lie. Nick has never hated Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have a motive to want to hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here like, good, like, so.
If you guys remember too, in the interrogation when they're talking about like BDSM kind of like, you know, that kind of stuff, and they asked like what kind of things did he do, and he's like, oh, she wanted me to do this, and they said, well, would you like slap her? And he's like, no, I wouldn't even do that. Like, are you sure he's really the one to BDSM if he's saying he wouldn't even, you know, spank her or something, you know? So I don't feel it came from him at all.
I feel for Nicholas so much, and you know, I know I haven't really weighed much on it, and talked much about it, but you know, if it's okay with y'all, I will give you guys a little bit of history with me and Dan Patterson and why I hate this man with every fiber of my being.
Sure.
There's more than one incident, and it's a doozy. So when I just won't give timelines. I'll just tell the story. There was a time when I was living on the north side of Springfield for a little while, and it was a little crazy area. You know, there was a lot of traffic and crazy happening over there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a neighbor. I was living in a townhouse. I had a neighbor, and it was a 19-year-old young woman with a 1-year-old baby girl. And, you know, she was a single mom. She was from St. Louis. She was very skittish as it is. And, you know, I had just moved in. So me and her sat outside on the sidewalk in front of our townhouses and was just talking one day. And this man, this like really tall, thin, frailly looking guy starts walking down the sidewalk, and he's hitting on her. And she's very uncomfortable. She's skittish, and she's like, "Sir, I identify as a lesbian." You know, she was point blank with him, set the boundary, and was like, basically, get lost. You know, and he wasn't having it. So eventually, after enough talking, he did walk away, but he came back when I wasn't around, and he forced himself into her place.
Oh, no.
For about 2 months straight.
What?
He was beating this woman black and blue and throwing her and her baby down the stairs. I had called, and it wasn't just me. We had other neighbors that was calling the authorities. We called the authorities, I kid you not, over 20 times in that time frame, to a point where I had to sleep with one of my guns on my chest because it gave me such PTSD. It was so horrible. The nonstop screaming and fighting and him beating her to death.
Oh my God.
And they wouldn't do anything. This guy had just gotten out of prison. He was on parole. And he had a gun. And when I alerted the authorities that he is on parole and he has a gun, I heard it go off. They took the gun from him and let him go. That's another 5 years minimum on your sentence when you're a felon and you're caught with a weapon.
Oh, for sure.
So
They're getting away with this.
they never once arrested him. They would come and talk to him like hours and hours later, but they did nothing. That was what Springfield PD was about. They did not give a rat's butt. So it got to a point where, you know, we went to county and we started complaining, and we said, you know, some of the neighbors and we said, look, nothing's being done. Local law enforcement is not doing their job. I was like, is there even a report? Well, we can't tell you that, ma'am. Sure you can. I'm a concerned citizen and somebody's safety is at large. And, and I felt really bad because with all of the complaining, security of the property actually ended up evicting that 19-year-old girl and that baby. And I felt really bad, but in all honesty, it was a saving grace for her. She got away. She was able to go into hiding for a while by the divine grace of some, people she didn't even know, strangers. And, I think she did eventually get back to her family, if I recall. But that did not stop him. He went 2 doors down to another young gal who was just a little bit older with a 1-year-old little boy. And I don't know what happened over there because she was not directly on the other side of my wall like this girl was. I had a couple people between us. But one day I came out from taking a shower and I heard this weird noise and I flung my front door open and SWAT was there. Like, I kid you not, like 30 different people. It was SWAT and it was county and they all had shotguns in their hands pointing at the building.
Oh, wow.
And they blew the place up and they weren't in there, thankfully. Because I was really afraid for that little boy.
Yeah.
And, but they still didn't, they put out something about a manhunt for like, I don't even think it went on for 24 hours. And Patterson apparently called it off. And, they found him at a, I guess it's called a dope house or something, literally just like a block or 2 away. And they ended up demolishing all those houses on that block afterwards. But the reason they were looking for him initially was not because of what he was doing to these women and slinging drugs and being on parole and everything. He went out one morning and he murdered 2 different people in 2 different parking lots for just no reason at all in their cars. Just shot them dead. And cold blood murder. And I was so undeniably angry with Patterson and his assistant PAs because that could have been prevented if they had just done their dang job. It still makes my blood boil so much, but I can't get the screams, the gunfire, the everything that I was hearing during those 2 months. I cannot get them out of my head, and it's been years.
Oh my.
It was so traumatizing hearing that, and there was nothing I could do other than call law enforcement. This guy had threatened to murder me and my child in front of that cop once. And he did nothing. That was the same day he took his gun from him and said, "Carry on." This is why I can't stress enough to those who do not believe that there's corruption here in Missouri and just how bad it is, especially in Springfield. It is horrible.
Where's this man at today?
Last I knew, he was in prison.
Okay, good.
So, this was, I believe, 6 years ago. I have not looked since then. He better still be in prison.
Yeah.
But it just, that's just one story. I'm not even going to get into the second story. It's longer, but that is just one really horrible experience with Dan Patterson that makes me hate him so much. And for him to give Gypsy this sweetheart deal and screw Nick over and to sit there and watch him on screen screwing Nick over makes me even angrier.
Right.
Nick is guilty of a crime. I have never denied that. The only thing I think is Nick did not carry it out, but I do believe Nick believes he did.
Yeah,
and that's okay. To him, that's his truth, and that's okay. I do not call Nick a liar.
Yeah.
But I do think he really got screwed bad.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
The fact that it just blows my mind that she walked at 8.5 years, like the fact that we don't see any accountability at all, and that is
None.
something that is supposed to be shown in parole to
Mhm.
even be like, I just don't understand what happened during the parole board and who was there to speak against, and it just blows my mind
Let
why.
me
Ugh,
let me tell you a little bit about the Missouri Parole Board.
mhm,
I know
Please
this.
do.
I
yeah,
know this for a fact because I know somebody who actually ran the parole board at a
mm,
time, and he ran it for quite a long time.
Do you still know this person?
I am.
right.
I know this person. Yeah. I've only met him, but he is actually my cousin's good friend,
Mhm,
Okay.
and so he was actually a senator here. And he ran the parole board for a long time. And until my cousin went to prison, he had no idea what the parole board really was, honestly. He was
Mhm.
mhm,
like, yeah, it's just a bunch of people who do the governor favors, usually,
Mhm.
and they get appointed to the parole board. They have no idea about the prison system. They have no idea about these women or these men who are going up for parole. They just talk to them and they decide whether they're going to be nice to somebody that day or not. And actually, I heard, allegedly, I heard that just like they were doing allegedly in Springfield around the time in the DA's office, they were doing the same type of thing on the parole board, where if you came in that day and if you said the right word, they would give you parole. Or if you were wearing the right color, they would give you parole or a
What the
plea deal.
hell?
Or, yeah, that's what I've been told.
I
So,
guess now I guess now I know why I was never hired to be a parole officer. I mean, I got the degree. I know
well,
when
like,
I was
yeah,
on a
yes, and
self-discovery
she's
for a little
wearing a
bit.
purple headband.
I was
now
on a
the parole,
self-discovery for a little bit, but I was told, nope, yeah, I don't think you qualify. Well, really? I got a bachelor's.
now,
That's all you require.
Yeah.
now the parole office, I don't know about, but the parole board, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
the actual people on the parole board, take a look at it. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
Well, you did say senator at one point. So that
Mhm.
makes me and you know, not to delve into like conspiracy theories here and everything, but my question is, do you think it could possibly be headed by the elites?
It made a full circle from the beginning.
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably. I will say this, I am extremely surprised that I even live in the state of Missouri because of some of the things that have happened to
Amen.
my to my husband and other family members in Missouri.
Yeah.
And, like,
Right,
I
Mrs.
have
Donovan.
my cousin is locked up in prison for 25 years for 5 ounces of methamphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
And, in Chillicothe, she was in there with Gypsy. She didn't meet Gypsy, but she saw Gypsy all the time because they were in
Yeah.
different, housing units.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin still has never gone into Gen Pop, and she's been there 3 years now. And, she's been in the women's empowerment program that Gypsy swears up and down is not available to anybody. Uh,
Jatha squashed that one too.
I love Nadatha stuff. She's like, no.
yes, yeah,
She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole wing called Women's Empowerment, and they do all kinds of things. And my cousin has taken so many classes over and over and over and over again. And yeah, she's learning a whole lot. So there is reform there and there is help there in Chillicothe. She just didn't
You just have to
access.
want it. Yeah,
Mhm.
you have to be willing. And you know, I'm ashamed of Missouri. people sit there and say things like, oh, but Missouri's so cool. It's the show me state. Do you know what show me state means? Do you really want to go there? We may be, that may be our motto, the show me state, but you really don't want to know what that means. It's not
agree.
good. It's party central here for one.
Yeah.
And it's, let's let the criminals do whatever they want, however they want, and run the place while we take after, innocent families and innocent people and get what we can out of them instead.
Yep.
And it's been that way for probably about 2 decades now, or going on close to. I know this started in like late 90s here in Missouri, where the corruption, in my opinion, the corruption did begin in Child Protective Services office, where they decided that they were going to start, going after innocent families for things that they didn't do. And, turning children back over to the drug addict mother who's still using and beating the living snot out of them and starving them, and make that make sense. And then it just slowly progressed from there. I know Missouri is a money-hungry state, and it, they will do whatever they can to come at you.
Yeah. There's a lot of corruption, especially in the mid to late 90s for sure, because I know of some incidents that happened. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, the people here in Missouri are really kind and really loving and really giving, but it's like the whole governmental system is really just messed up.
Yes, and that's more or less where I was going with that is, it wasn't so much the people. There are a lot of bad people in Missouri, don't get me wrong. And I mean a lot. But there's also a lot of good people too.
Yes.
And there was something else I was about to say and I just lost it.
Well, and I also feel when it comes to, a big thing was, and of course, Nadatha debunked that one of, going in and getting mental health. And it was even tried to be talked about with Kim Kardashian. I think that it comes to the very beginning. If you think you did something wrong, if you take accountability, and I think she never believed that she did something wrong or that there was anything like, why did she need mental health? I freed myself. Like that was her story. And that's what, so I almost wonder if that was part of like, I can't go into mental health and counseling. Like, what is there to talk about? I'm the victim. And, it's like, it would have worked more for you, I felt, period, if you would have accepted some help or reached out for some help. But the fact that she didn't even I know if I was in a situation at all going to prison for whatever reason, I'm hitting that counselor as much as I can.
And it looks good for the parole board.
I'm a wreck. I would be a wreck. Like, where's the anxiety? Where's the PTSD? Where's the grief? Where is the shock factor? Where is, like, now that all the calm has gone, the any remorse, any guilt, anything, like, you need to be talking to somebody. I mean, you just don't come in and so I totally, and especially somebody that is there on her charges, I don't ever believe was denied mental health.
No, I don't.
No.
No way. Of all charges.
Yeah, no.
Right,
And
right.
she only took, from what I understand, one class. It was the victims impact class, which they make everybody take. And then I believe she facilitated that as well, which is kind of ironic. But when my cousin went, she's done it like I don't even know how many times, but one of the rounds that she did it, Alyssa Bustamante was the facilitator.
Okay.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. What? Bustamante?
Oh, you don't know who she is?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Well, she murdered a 10 or 11-year-old little girl here when she was a teenager,
Oh.
just 5
Oh.
miles down the road from where I live now. So yeah.
Mm-mm. 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 Crimes
And
against
what
children
is her
should definitely
sentence?
carry even harsher punishments than anything.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
I wonder what her sentence was.
Life without parole, I believe, or I think it is life without parole because they tried to change it recently because she was a teenager at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the governor shot it down.
Okay.
I think
Huh.
that was last year.
Okay, yeah, and this is going to be probably very unpopular opinion. I have a lot of mixed emotions about children who commit crimes, especially violent crimes like that, and how they're handled.
Mhm.
Me personally, they always say start them young, they can train easily when they're kids. But when you commit such a heinous crime at an early age like that, I almost feel you're destined for life to be dark and evil. Like I like that's what you know, and now you're going straight to prison for a while. That's all you're going to know in there.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to be able to rehabilitate into society? I don't think that's even possible.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because look at everything you're about to just go and learn as, you know, a child / young adult.
Yeah. There's been many children who have gotten out. I know, especially like in the UK, I remember 2 specific boys. They took the life of a toddler. I can't remember his name now at the moment. Bulger or James. James. No, I can't remember what the kid's name was. But they let him out, and they gave him a new name. You know, basically witness protection. And then I know at least one of them has reoffended several times, not in that way, but in the really gross way. So, and James Bulger, yeah,
That name
and
sounds familiar.
yeah, you should look into the 2 kids who committed that crime and what they've been up to since. It's pretty gross.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Oh, by the way, I apologize. That thing that I had a brain fart on. Something Amber was talking about, you know, when we were discussing the corruption. This is gonna is gonna annoy some people probably, but the thing that there was one time I sat in with a client at court because there was a conflict in the schedule for the attorney that I was working for, who had to be in a different county at the time, same day. But somebody needed to appear for this client and request a continuance. So I sat with the client on the benches behind the counsels, waiting for their name to be called so that we could approach. While sitting there, and let me tell you just how illegal this is, the assistant prosecuting attorney was on his laptop, you know, searching through Facebook. I thought nothing of it at first. I thought, what kind of crazy person with all these people sitting behind him would be looking at his social media like it's nothing? But that's not what he was doing. He was using some sort of software to look at every person on the docket's social media. Like he was in their accounts. He wasn't just looking at them, he was in their accounts.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, where's your warrant for that? Somebody could just be here for a freaking fine for a traffic violation, and you're up in their social media?
Yeah.
I remember being furious when I saw that. I was like, I can't say nothing. I know I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to believe me. But it goes to show you just how sick and twisted Missouri can be, and how they don't follow the rules. They make their own rules as they go. So to say that, something that, an opinion that I have is just that, an opinion or a conspiracy theory, it's not that far-fetched. Amber and I have seen single-handedly what Missouri is capable of.
Mhm.
And they are bad. They are very bad.
And I haven't even told you half of.
Yeah, trust me, you and I got some stories, girl.
And like I said, and this, like what you're starting doing with this, I mean, like you really haven't even got into the deep dive of all this. I mean, it's a lot.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot. It really is. And I
So
mean, I
my-
just glanced at the very beginning.
Mhm.
it
So
really-
my hope for writing the DOJ isn't just to reconsider Gypsy for resentencing and indicting her to the grand jury. It's not just to reconsider Nicholas's mitigating circumstances and everything in between that. It is also to bring down Springfield and their corruption and hopefully get some eyes from federal here in Missouri, all over Missouri, and clean this place up once and for all. This place is absolutely terrifying.
Mhm.
And I think, what is it? We have 3 cities, all 3 cities here in Missouri are on that top 10 list of most dangerous cities in America.
yeah.
I think we've nailed it. Every state has at least 2 or 3 cities, and I can already tell you we got 50 states, so not all of them are listed on that list. But the fact that we have 3 on the top 10, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And Missouri's cheap. Missouri lets you, get away with whatever. They slap you on the wrist with everything. That's why a lot of gangs migrated here, especially down to Springfield, actually. I believe 3 gangs from St. Louis, the Bloods and the Crips, even from Kansas City too, and then the Aryan Brotherhood, and then there was a female gang from up north that all slowly started migrating down to Springfield at one point.
Mhm.
And that's when things got really, really bad. And I left because it was horrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It just and a biker gang too. There was a biker gang, but I don't worry about them too terribly much.
Yeah, there's a lot of biker gangs here, and they're, as long as you're not messing with women and children, usually you're all right.
Yep. That's what I always say. I will not get into a biker gang, but what I will say is when it comes to children, you better watch your P's and Q's because they have no remorse for you.
No remorse.
Oh yeah.
They do not care if they end up in a jail cell.
Yeah.
Yep. I've known many bikers in my life.
I used to have fun with the bikers back years ago in my 20s. It was fun. We loved to ride.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, my husband and I actually just went for a ride yesterday because it was 70 degrees here in Missouri.
Oh, I bet you loved it.
It was awesome.
Loved it.
Lucky. We're having some like Arctic weather here in Canada right now.
Oh boy. Well, you guys are up north, aren't you guys pretty much always kind of Arctic?
Yeah, but well, no, not all. I'm not that north where it's always like that. We get a summer for a few months and it's decent, but it gets very, very cold where I am in Ontario. Oh yeah, big time.
I'm in North Carolina, so we're pretty. We have a nice, good from spring to fall, and then our winters are not too bad. But this winter, I think for everybody, wherever you're at, it's been a cold winter.
Oof.
Very cold, but we get very hot and humid. Humidity is terrible in the south.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we get to. It's humidity a lot here in Ontario, and it gets brutal.
Yeah.
I always make a joke about the Midwest weather, especially in Missouri. Welcome to the Midwest, I always say, where you can experience all the seasons in a 4-hour period. Just last Saturday, oh goodness, we had that snowstorm that, everybody pretty much got hit with that week. And we ended up with about 14 inches where I'm at.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the roads got cleared a couple days after that. And I went to lunch up in Springfield with my mom for my birthday, and we were talking about it. And she's like, "So how much snow is on the ground?" And I said, "Oh, we got about 14 inches, and we have probably every bit of like 6 inches still on the ground out there." We laughed about it. In about an hour, I was only gone for maybe 2.5 hours in total. I come home and it's all gone like it never happened. Just melted because it was 60-degree weather. I was like, good grief.
Well, we have so much right now, like it hasn't stopped snowing. I swear every day there's snow, so we've got tons here.
Keep it. I don't want to.
No, I'm ready. I've had enough. I've really had enough. It's my
Send it to
birthday tomorrow. It's almost spring. Like, what's going on?
Send it to California. Morbid would love some of that snow. Just give him some snow.
Next week, and I wonder how cold it's going to be.
You're going where? I'm sorry.
In that area.
Where'd you say you're going, Lisa?
I'm going up to New Jersey.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm going to Atlantic City area, and so I don't know what the way. I mean, I'm inside the main, mainly, but I've gone up there before and been stuck with the snow, and it's so different, So I don't know. If anybody in here lives in that area, you can let me know what it's like. I mean, I look it up, but you never know. So
yeah, for sure. So now we can all basically agree everything's shot here. This whole case. When I went through and cross-compared with Alice Down the Rabbit Hole, what's been FOIA'd, what's been public, and what is still not been shown to the public,
right,
or even mentioned that I'm aware of. That list was bigger than I had realized. And I feel like there's going to be a slight shift in my thoughts and opinions on what I've seen so far on this case that is out there, but I don't think it's incorrect still. Like for example, she was talking about, well, I wonder if anybody has gotten those phone records. Well, yeah, they did.
Oh, they did?
County did, or whoever.
I've been trying to get the phone records and messages, but I'm not sure how to go about getting them. I've FOIA'd Securus, and I've...
Yeah. I apologize. I meant the cell phone records.
Oh. Okay.
I apologize. I should have clarified that. I'll get to that part in just a second. I think I counted like 4 phones, and she counted an additional 2. I can't remember, because I was talking to somebody else about it too, and I was like, just how many devices did Gypsy have? I think Gypsy had about three devices that they confiscated.
I think there were like 5 altogether.
Yeah,
she trashed one laptop and got rid of it, didn't she? Who knows what was on that?
They did book one.
I know the answer, but Michelle Bolden asked, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It says, can the prosecutors that was on the murder felon in Gypsy Rose Blanchard case speak out now about their opinions on the case? Has anyone tried to interview? So basically,
you don't want me to answer that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and answer for Michelle.
Okay. To put it mildly, no. And you couldn't give this man enough money in the world to do that.
Okay.
Because he is a snake, and so is his assistant prosecutor that was on the case as well, who was, oh my gosh, almost borderline worse.
Yeah.
They will do anything to protect their image and continue to run unopposed. And because Dan Patterson himself, the prosecutor, is going on 2 decades of running unopposed. How that's even possible, I don't know. But, same with Sheriff Arnott.
Yeah.
The sheriff that for this case that was there during the case. He's getting called out a lot, though, here lately by town folk. They don't like him very much. It's just no. Prosecutor would not. And if he did, he would say, I have no regrets, because yeah, why would he?
And that was part of, I know people have discussed that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's had an unfair from the beginning, because even things that he just wasn't directed in the right way. So yeah, of course he doesn't want to talk. But I mean, that's a good question. Especially a lot that don't know what's going on. You would think the prosecutor would want to speak, but yeah, no, they don't.
There was other things that I had saw snips of where Nicholas's legal team, I already done forgot his attorney's name at this point. There's so many names. Perry, there you go. Perry had went up to bat for him a couple of times, making it especially in this motion to throw out a few things for trial, or hold on to those things for trial. His mitigating circumstances, his ASD, and and I saw something where they were arguing back with him, saying, well, this doctor, said he doesn't, or whatever. And then went to say, it was Judge Jones before, it was either before trial or before sentencing, was like, so I imagine there's no complaint about the legal representation. And then, he just said, I assume. And then he moved on. There was no objection. Why? I would have objected. I would have stood up and said, they suck, if he wasn't happy. Because I did see where Nick wrote twice to the state saying that he did not receive fair counsel for the appeals process. But then there was another one where Judge Jones was like, I also assume that everybody was perfectly happy with the specialists that analyzed Nicholas and how that came about, blah blah blah. No objection still. And I'm like, what? This kid was deemed by the state of Wisconsin, permanently disabled, unable to work at a normal job due to his autism or Asperger's syndrome, whichever one it is. And, because he does lack social skills and he has a lower IQ, so he struggles. He can't take on a normal 9-to-5 job. And that should have been taken into consideration. And that much is very obvious when you have a conversation with Nicholas. When you watch these interviews and you watch Nicholas conversate, yes, he is intelligent and he does speak clearly and well. But he probably practiced a lot of that, because he knows he's about to be interviewed, and he wants to sound, he doesn't want to trip over. He wants to trip over their words, and I don't blame the guy for that. I still agree that, when he was doing his interrogation, he was tripping all over the place. He couldn't keep up with what he was told to say. And I will say that for even those that disagree, I firmly believe he was told what to say in that interrogation. He was led the whole way, and he struggled.
Yeah.
He was set up from the start.
You could tell that he really was not trying to hide anything. He really was coming forth, and he made it clear, he would not have done this if he had, not been with Gypsy. He, I think what people, I know that I do, and I think what others look at is you truly do see someone that is telling the truth. He is not trying to, I mean, he is admitting, he took accountability right off, and you can tell, I mean, what he says is what he means. And,
Mhm.
you can
He's
see
very
that
honest,
he's been
yes.
totally manipulated. Now, that does not excuse what he has done, or nor I think all of us agree that he should not, not just not be punished, but he definitely was not treated fairly.
Right.
Things were not allowed into evidence that should have been. Why was he not offered things like Gypsy? Why was he not given the fair the fair opportunity like
Yeah.
she was?
Right.
Right.
Why is he not any type of victim, but she is?
Mhm.
It just doesn't. Um, it's just not right. And anybody looking at this, any professional looking at this, I just don't see how this was allowed. How the judge allowed all of this, and
Mhm.
which goes back to the very beginning of when Trixie said, you know, when she started talking about Mansfield and others, and I was like, yes, you like that's the people I think we need to be geared at. The outside, the players that were involved,
Mhm.
because not a lot have done a lot of coverage on that.
Mhm.
It's been all just strictly, Gypsy and just right around that circle, but there's so much more that is involved. And like I said, making a full circle to parole board, from the people that were involved at the very beginning all the way back around to parole board for it's just politics or something. Or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
this could not have been done properly with the right system. There's just no way. If all rules were followed, it would not have turned out like this.
Yeah. From what it looks like, not many
oh
people
yeah,
have.
the rules the word go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have cut out or something. What it looks like to me, oh, I don't even remember what I was going to say now.
No.
I don't remember. Never mind.
Political. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I don't know. I have cognitive issues. I
I'm
forget
so
everything.
sorry.
Can I ask a question about something? It's not too far
Yeah.
into and
Oh, I remember.
I believe it's on page 5 that I was looking at. And it says here, I'm just gonna read a little bit of it.
Mhm.
And maybe y'all can just help me understand. I haven't got to really look hard into this. It says, arraignment held. A defendant appears with Attorney Perry and Bullard, which is Nick's attorneys for
Mhm.
everybody listening, by Assistant Prosecutor Assistant Whiteside. Hearing held on this record. Arraignment held. Defendant waives formal reading and enters pleas on not guilty to. I'm on my phone, so it's tiny, guys. To the.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to share it in just a second.
And count defendant's motion to record or to transcribe all associate courts proceedings is granted. Okay, I want to kind of just. All right, granted. All right, so here we go. Proceeds is granted to surveillance tapes, audio tapes, videotapes, investigatory. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a line. Granted is also 911 tapes, surveillance tapes, audio tapes, videotapes, and investigatory notes. Defendant motion to preserve evidence is denied in all other respects. Defendant motion for discovery prior to preliminary hearing is denied. Preliminary hearing is scheduled for 7/24/15 at 1 p.m. If it is determined that the preliminary hearing in this matter, hold on, I'm losing my spot. Hearing in this matter cannot be conducted on 7/24. The preliminary hearing will be conducted at 3 o'clock. So instead of 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Parties advise the requirement of Missouri Supreme Court operating rule and direct parties to file any objections no later than 7:15 by 5 p.m. Parties consent to court ruling on request for cameras in the courtroom based upon filings without further hearing. Bond is then now set at $1 million, and then it goes on to what this, like, say he does the bond at $1 million, all the stipulation stuff. But what I don't understand is, what are they talking about when they say that okay, he enters in a plea of not guilty to each count. So there was 2 counts. Defendant's motions to record or transcribe all proceedings is granted. Defendants. So right here is where my question goes. Defendant's motion to preserve evidence is granted as to like the 911 tapes, the surveillance tapes, the audio tapes, videotapes, investigatory notes. Defendant's motion is preserve evidence is denied. So what does that mean in all other respects?
That's what I was wondering too, because I noticed several times that they weren't given discovery before
Right.
the preliminary hearing and all kinds of things like that. They were denied that several
And
times.
that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have an answer on that.
Yeah.
A lot of what was in there, and for somebody who is educated on that side, on that front, I've even been super confused by some of the things that they've put in here. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Started in it too, so I know it's going to take you a little bit to dissect and really look at it. But that was just one thing that caught my attention, and I thought maybe with y'all, because I know you're a little more experienced, especially reading documents like this.
I think once I delve further into reading them, more together and actually have a focus on them, it'll start to make a lot more sense to me. I have not done that yet.
Okay.
But with that being said, some of the things that you both just brought up, the clip, I'm so silly. I can't believe I forgot this. The clip that I snipped together that I said it wouldn't let me show you guys. I privately just uploaded it to my YouTube so I can share it. So that should let me
say earlier. So
yeah,
from what it looks like, not many people have actually looked into Nick. Like, they haven't actually gotten any of his records.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I asked for everything they had, and it's going to be over $700 at least for the information. And I asked her, I said, is it double the information? Am I getting just copies of the same information and I'm going to have to pay extra for it? And she said, no, it's significantly larger.
Oh.
That's what I was actually going to ask you earlier before the live, because it was almost like they recycled and reused the appeals of Nicholas, at least the first 2, that I almost questioned, did they seriously just give you duplicate and charge you for this? Because of what it was so similar. But then I realized it wasn't the same.
Yeah, some of the documents I got for free from the DOC, and the stuff that I had that I got from Greene County cost money. So the stuff I got from DOC was free.
Oh, that's good. As far as your phone calls go, by the way, and emails, Secura's isn't the only platform that you can reach out to. The prison should be able to comply with that, since it is the Sunshine Law for Missouri, and they're the ones that use the platform, and they're supposed to monitor.
Yeah.
what's going in and out from the inmates. In fact, they're supposed to be watching all of it like a hawk, but they don't, I don't think.
They obviously aren't because
Let me
if
see.
if Don Boker was able to supposedly get abused by Nick while he was in the prison system, then they weren't reading the mail. But I will say that anything that I put in a message to anyone, if it is a screenshot or if it has to do with any employee
Mhm.
at the prison or former employee at the prison, they will not allow the information to go through.
Huh.
That, well, yeah. But if it's just, emails and calls with Nick to whoever, I don't see that, having that unless he's just like outright naming some people.
Mhm.
Oh, that's tricky. But I would still try to put one in it,
I did,
I don't.
but I did at Chillicothe Correctional Facility, but I haven't heard anything from them, so I need to call them.
You did that with Chillicothe for Nicholas or Gypsy?
For Gypsy. For Gypsy,
Oh,
all
okay.
of Gypsy's messages and phone
Mhm.
calls, stuff like that. I reached out to Chillicothe, I reached out to the DOC and to Securus.
Okay.
I thought about JPay. Maybe I need to try JPay.
Yeah, you can try that too. That sounds like it's tricky. I know when one of the gals that requested the phone calls from the prison, she wasn't denied. They said that they would, get back to her with the price and, how they're going to get them to her and everything. Because it was going to be a vast amount.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, 3 months, 4 months pass by. And they finally follow up with her and say that she's an issue all of a sudden and that they're not going to give them to her.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but so she went to the barrister and she's like, I'm launching a complaint and stuff like that. And rightfully so, she should. That's very strange to, make somebody feel that way, and say that they're a problem too. I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
So this is the clip. It's private on my YouTube, so I'm gonna take it down when I'm done with this because it's not my video. I just snipped it together.
Okay.
Her character. We didn't forget it. It's not missing. It's that when it comes to the defendant's guilt, it doesn't matter. All that matters is what the defendant did on June 10th of 2015.
You selected this for a particular purpose. He didn't just want to kill her. He wanted to terrify her. That takes thought and planning.
Let's get one thing straight. Who wanted Claudine Blanchard dead? She manipulated this situation in so many ways. Gypsy did. Gypsy wanted Claudine Blanchard dead.
I supplied the knife.
Where did you get the knife?
I stole it from Walmart.
Anything you'd like to say before I pronounce sentence?
Maybe a little.
Yes, sir.
When this whole thing happened, like I said it before in my statements, it's very much the truth, so I'll just say it.
This part broke my heart.
When this whole thing happened, all I ever really wanted to do was with Blanchard. That's all I ever wanted to do. I've never known what it was like to live in with a dog. I've never known what it's like to have a female connection. I've never known any of that. None of it. Because I've never known it, that's part of the reason why I strive so hard to get it. So much to the point where I don't even understand what it even feels like to have a female connection. It's missing. This is a missing link. It's always been a missing link. It's always been one. And that's the reason why I guess when I got so deep into this situation where I fell in love so deeply. They do say, and they've always said it, love is blind. They've always said that. Well, I admit it, I was climbing him up. That was always very much the case. It was always that way. So I understand that you're a fair judge. I've heard it from both my parents. And all I ask is just for mercy, please. Mercy of any form. That's all I ask.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Nicholas Godejohn, guilty of murder in the first degree.
When that conviction came down, the two family members Nicholas Godejohn had in the courtroom, his father and his cousin, who came down on a bus from Milwaukee, instantly frustrated. You know, they were in probably despair. Nicholas Godejohn didn't seem to have much of a reaction at all, but that was sort of how that went. So the defense asked on behalf of Nicholas Godejohn if the defendant, Nicholas Godejohn, could hug his father goodbye before going to prison for life. The judge said he was not allowed to allow that. So he had to wave goodbye, as you saw there at the end of the story.
Very interesting.
Aww. That's so
Yeah,
sad.
that broke my heart. That really broke.
I
my
wonder
heart.
how often that happens in a courtroom when they deny them to hug their.
Gypsy got to with Ron and Christy.
Yeah, I mean,
how many times did Gypsy get to go into that courtroom on camera and sit there and love and hug and cry and blah 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 on Ron and Christy?
Yeah.
So in a lot of his requests,
threat, you could tell. I mean,
no, he wasn't. And in his request for appeals, he was okay. So as I was scrolling through all of this, like I said, I saw bits and pieces. He was reaching out to the state more than once, requesting any kind of help that he could possibly get in his own handwriting. Clearly stating, I do not have the financial, stance to hire somebody, but I am pleading here. Please help me. I need help, and all I could think of was Gypsy and her blood money.
Yeah.
And how she got this public defender who just happened to practice specialize in that. And then she is wicked. She is wicked.
And he's a manager at that too. He's just a jack of all trades.
Jackass, maybe.
Yeah.
I do not like that man. Oh, what a disgusting pig he is.
So
that's not alleged, by the way.
So I'm actually going to have to leave because I have another podcast that I'm going to be on in an hour, and I got to get ready for that. Yeah, it's on Military Broadcast Radio. It's called From Pain to Purpose, and we are interviewing a kid who used to be a foreign exchange student for the host that I'm going to be on the show for. So,
oh, cool.
And I have both Into the Weeds and The Search with Lisa. Their links in the description box. Go ahead and go send them some love, give them some likes, subscribe to them.
Thank you.
They're great girls, I love watching them, you guys, and
thank you. And Lisa, I found you a couple of days ago, actually, with your reborn video. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. And that one, a lot of people actually commented on that one, and I was like, wow, you just never know what is really going to catch someone's eyes, because I have a lot of, all mine is pretty much true crime. And so some take off and then some don't, that's just how it goes. And I was so glad that this one, a lot of people really were interested in, and because I felt like I had to defend the true crime people, but I also felt like I needed, so, real quick, that's where I kind of do true crime and then intertwine it with awareness. So that video was exactly like what I like to do. And so it was bringing awareness to the reborn community, but at the same time, you know, talking about the true crime and that there was, and I gotta say something funny real quick. So, where is Alice? Is Alice still in here?
Probably.
So
so.
I had did that video on a Thursday, and I was still having to get it finished edited and all that. And the day before I put out, Alice is like, fake this, fake baby, fake boyfriend. Fake. And I'm like, oh no, I hope she doesn't think that when this comes out, it's like towards her. So I'm just gonna let her know
Alice is
I
a
already
stand-up
done
gal.
that video, but it was to defend the true crime community. Nobody was trying to offend at all the reborn community. So I just came across it. So yes, Amber, I have seen you on Toddy's, and so I appreciate everything that you do with the service. My father was in the service
Absolutely.
over 20 years, and so my all my family members, and so I appreciate everything you've done, and I've heard some of your stories as well.
Okay.
So
well, thank you
do
very
really
much.
good.
And I intend to keep helping my veterans by teaching them how to podcast and going on their shows. So.
I love that. I love that.
Amber, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome, Trixie, and thank you. And it was nice to meet you, Chrissy, as well.
Yes, it was nice to meet both you guys. I'll make sure I follow you guys as well.
Okay, thank you. Have a blessed day, everybody.
You as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Lisa, as well for being here. I know it's about time for Mama to probably get up.
Do what?
I said I know it's probably time for Mama to get up soon.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was looking at the time. I'm like, she's probably in there doing this number. She'll wait, but like, I don't like to leave her. But anyway, I think that I just dropped.
So you can hit the leave studio button. Before you go, I also, again, thank you so much for joining us today and, giving us a little history of you and the backstory. And I look forward so much to what you're doing with this young woman who is a victim of Munchausen by proxy and seeing how this takes off and where it goes. And for the true crime, especially in the Gypsy Rose verse, learning more about Munchausen by proxy and what a real victim of it actually looks like versus what her little BS is.
Right. Big difference, guys. Big difference.
Oh, yeah.
So, but thank you. And Chrissy, it was very nice to meet you as well. And like I said, I'm just getting into the lives over here. So this was great practice. And I felt very welcomed, and I'm so thankful that I did this today. So thank you so much, Trixie. And
thank you.
Later, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
Have a great day.
Bye, everybody in the chat.
Bye.
Okay, I'm going to hit remove.
Christine, stay with me for a sec.
Okay.
All right. So, happy birthday to you. And no, I'm not going to break out a song because it's going to sound ridiculous. Everybody in the chat, if you can, wish Christina, early happy birthday. Her birthday's tomorrow. She's going to go celebrate with her honey.
Yeah. I got to go pick him up now, too.
40 is the new 22. Just remember that. So
I hope so.
With that being said, thank you for jumping up here with us as well and being a part of this conversation. Definitely drive safe, arrive alive, and we'll catch you soon.
Awesome. So good to hear from you all.
And everybody in the chat, I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, and just be safe. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the comments after this live posts. It is recorded, so it will post.
Awesome. Yep. Thanks, everybody, and I'm glad you all made it here to watch us.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.